بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى أهله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Alhamdulillah, today we gathered here again to learn the religion of Allah. Peace and salutations to our beloved Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and his family members, his companion, and those who follow them until the day of judgment. Okay, today we're going to continue, inshallah, the lessons we left last week. Anyone first timer? 1, 2, 3. Anyone absent last week beside the 3? 1, 2. Normally this is the class that conducted by Sheikh Hussein Yi himself. But today he's conducting level 2. So level 1, inshallah, I will be conducting. I'm the students of Sheikh Hussein Yi. My name is Adam. I'm also a revert like most of you here. Today, we're going to discuss, we are using this website called New Muslim Guide. New Muslim Guide, right? newmuslimguide.com. We are still in the very beginning of the lessons, which is the testimony of faith, meaning and the requirement. Last week we talked about the first part of the Shahada, which is La ilaha illallah. So today, inshallah, we're going to talk about the second part of the Shahada, which is Muhammad Rasulullah. Before I become Muslim, alhamdulillah, Allah guided me to Islam 13 years ago. I was a Catholic. For me to accept the first part of the Shahada, very easy, just like that. I think for majority of the people also, if you talk to the non-Muslims today about Islam, the first part of the Shahada is easy, which is La ilaha illallah. Maybe it's a bit difficult to convince them about shirk, but still, they will believe in God. And it's a fitrah of human being. Right? Allah created us in that manner, that we will believe in the Almighty. There is one Almighty. So it's easy to convince them to believe in Allah. And it's quite easy to also talk about not to commit shirk, and Allah is deserved to be worshipped. But the second part is, this is the challenging part. So for me, before I became Muslim, the second part is what I spend most of my time to research, to understand who is Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because to believe in Allah, easy. But who is Muhammad? So now we need to talk about this person. Right? Who have read about Muhammad? Alhamdulillah. Before you become Muslim? No, after you become Muslim. So I spend a lot of time reading about him. So I highly recommend, if you have not read about the life of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then there is one book that is quite easy to read. I find it quite easy to read. You can click on this. Yeah, this is the book. This is called When the Moon Split. Very nice. Huh? The title of the book is called When the Moon Split. This is a summarized version of a bigger book. It's called the Seal Nectar. Seal Nectar is a bigger book. But if you are a student of knowledge, if you would like to know more about the life of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, then you can read the bigger book, which is the Seal Nectar. But if you are new and you just want to learn about him, then this is a good book to read. A summarized version, When the Moon Split. The reason I recommend this book is because anyone can write about someone, right? the bibliography. But this book, the informations are verified. So we can say it's quite authentic, right? To read this. This is actually the Seal Nectar is actually an award-winning book. So this is the summarized version of this book. So you can get hold of this book. You can get hold. The easiest one, you can go to Da'wah Corner. Have you heard of this bookstore called Da'wah Corner? Da'wah Corner is Alhamdulillah, is a very good brother who started this bookstore, and they sell very good authentic Islamic books, right? In English or in Bahasa Malaysia. Or otherwise, you can buy in a normal MPH, they sell this book. So this is a good book. So now we can get back to our lesson, inshallah. So it's easy if once you are convinced that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, then the shahada is easy. Inshallah, it's very easy for you. And it's very easy for you to follow Islam as well after that. Because why? Because we take a lot of lessons, and a lot of the way of lives are from the Prophet's life. Even the Quran was revealed to Prophet Muhammad. So even if you were to read the Quran, you have to believe he is the messenger. Right? So once you are convinced that he is the messenger of Allah, everything else is easy. Everything else is easy. Easy for you to accept. Right? So today, inshallah, we're going to talk about his life. We're not going to cover his whole life in 1 hour. We'll try to follow the syllabus. And then, inshallah, if you have any questions, you can ask, or you can try to read the book and try to find out more. Right? Before we begin, any questions you want to ask before we begin? About last class? Any questions? Or I should ask questions? Today I didn't prepare the quiz. So sorry, it was a bit busy. I promise you next week, inshallah, we're going to have a Kahoot test. Okay, shall we begin? Bismillah. Right, so who is Allah's messenger? His birth. Prophet Muhammad, if you can see, there's a symbol after the word Muhammad. It means Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So if you're a believer, you always send salutations to him after hearing his name. Say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. All peace and blessings of Allah be with him. Was born in Mecca in 570 CE. What is CE? Christian era, right? Well, okay. We don't really know the year. All we know as Muslims, right? We know Muhammad SAW was born in the year of anyone else? The year of elephant. Yeah, the year of elephant. Is there a calendar that they have, like the Chinese calendar, the year of elephant, but Chinese calendar doesn't have a year of elephant? Is there something like that? No, but it is commonly known, the year of elephant. That's the year of Prophet Muhammad SAW was born. Why? Because there was a significant event happened in that year, right? What happened was the elephant came from Yemen under the command of the king of Yemen. What's the name of the king? Anyone knows? Abraha. Very good. Abraha, he was jealous about Mecca, Kaaba particularly, that everyone would go to Hajj in Mecca. So he created a Kaaba in Yemen. But people still go to Mecca. So he was a bit jealous. So he said, okay, I'm going to destroy Kaaba. So he commanded the big elephants and then set foot from Yemen to Mecca to destroy the Kaaba. Long story cut short, of course, he failed to do it. Allah sends the bird carrying the rocks from hellfire. You can read it in Surah Fil. Surah Fil is surah number what? Surah number 105. Right? Those who have Quran, Surah 105, Allah recorded the event. Surah Fil. Fil means elephant. Elephant. Right? So what happened is the rocks destroy the elephant and they all die and they fail to destroy Kaaba. Allah protected the Kaaba. So that's the year of elephant. So we know as Muslims that that's the year that Muhammad SAW was born. His father died before his birth and his mother also died when he was very young. So yes, he was an orphan. He died not seeing his father. The father died way before he was born. And then the mother breastfed him for a while, and then the mother also died. Thus, he was placed under the care of his paternal grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. So then he was given to his grandfather, his father's side, okay? Paternal grandfather. Abdul Muttalib took care of him for a while, and then he died as well. And then he was placed under the care of Abu Talib. Abu Talib is the uncle, the younger brother of his father, Abdullah. His father's name is Abdullah, one of his paternal uncles. So he grew up with his uncle. This is his life. Okay, so he was an orphan. And then he was taken care by his grandfather. Grandfather died. Then he was raised by his uncle. His life and his upbringing. Muhammad SAW spent 40 years before he received revelation in Mecca, the tribe of Quraysh, into which he was born, and during this period, 40 years period, he came to be known amongst his people as As-Sadiq, Al-Amin, the truthful and trustworthy, because of his uprightness and excellent manners. Among the Arab culture, to be given the title Al-Amin is very difficult. You have to be very trustworthy and very truthful for a long time, meaning you never lie in order to gain the title Al-Amin. He get this title. So he was given this title because he never lied in his whole life. So trustworthy, so much so that even when his tribes, he's from the tribe of Hashim, Banu Hashim, even when his tribe is going to a war with another tribe, right? Those days, the practice when two tribes would go into war, what they will do is they will surrender their properties to another tribes, and whoever win the war would take the properties, right? So they will surrender to a tribe to take care. He was so trustworthy to the extent that when his tribe went to a war with another tribe, the other tribe would surrender the properties to him to take care of. Can you imagine? Like, you give your property to the enemy. You say, hey, can you take care of my property? We are going to the war. But you're going war with them, you know. So this is how trustworthy he is. Today, you don't do that, right? Today, do you find people like this? He's very trustworthy. They know Muhammad will not cheat them. They know. And this is Muhammad growing up before he became the prophet. He worked as a shepherd, so he was a shepherd. Yeah. In fact, later on, when he became a prophet, he told us all prophet was hired as a shepherd because it was a training for him, for them, not just for him, for all the prophets. Because being a shepherd, your job is to take care of the sheep, right? And to take care of the sheep is very difficult. If you know the job as a shepherd, it's very difficult. Because the sheep, they don't know they are low, right? You stand high, you are a shepherd, you can see from far what is in front of you or what is in front of them. So you will tell them, hey, stop, use a stick. And then one may go off and you have to gather the other back. It's very difficult. Why is it a training? Why is this a training for the prophet? Because the prophet's job is exactly like a shepherd. He would tell us what is in front of us. There's a hellfire in front. Stay away from that road. Go to this path and you will go to paradise. And keep us united as a group. Because if you can keep the sheep in a group, it's easier. And then you have one person, one sheep trying to run away. This is his job. And as a shepherd, if you ask the shepherd, he will tell you each of these sheep has different character. So he has to know this sheep, naughty one. This sheep very get hungry very fast. This sheep, he knows. In order to keep the sheep out of danger. Same thing as a prophet. He must know. He knows his people. It's a tough job. Very tough job. So he was hired as a shepherd. And this is the will of Allah. Allah trained him. And this is one of the trainings to become prophet eventually. And later as a merchant, he worked as a merchant as well. In fact, he worked as a salesman. He sells honey. Right? He worked for his wife eventually. The boss eventually became his wife. Before the advent of Islam, he maintained the pure monotheistic beliefs of Prophet Abraham alayhi salam, a Hanif, worshipping Allah alone without ascribing any partners to him and rejecting idol worship and pagan practices. So yes, before he became a prophet, his religion is actually, he doesn't practice any paganism. Because during his lifetime, his people practice paganism, worship idols worshippers. But he didn't, because he doesn't feel like it. He said, come on. Doesn't make sense. He didn't do all this. He didn't pray five times a day like us, because he didn't know how to worship Allah. So what he would do is, he would meditate. He would go to the cave, look at the stars, wondering about the creations of Allah, just like Abraham in the Salah. Abraham, same thing. Ibrahim, he would go up to the hill and look at the sun, look at the moon, look at the stars, and wonder about the creator of all these things. His mission. When Allah's Messenger ﷺ turned 40, so when he was 40 years old, he would regularly retreat to the cave of Hira on the peak of Mount Nur, on the outskirts of Mecca in the present day of Saudi Arabia. So if you have chance to visit Mecca, please visit this Mount Nur. And he would meditating and worshipping Allah. It was then that he started receiving revelation from Allah. The first verses he received there were the first 5 verses from Surah Al-Aqla, Surah Al-Alaq, Surah 96, first verse to number 5. Read in the name of your Lord who created. He created man from a clot of blood. Read, and your Lord is the most generous. He who taught by the pen taught man that which he knew not. Of course, the Quran was not revealed in English. This is a translation. It was revealed in Arabic, right? So when the 5 verses was revealed, can you imagine? Now, imagine yourself. You go to the cave. In the middle of the night, you are in the cave. And this, suddenly, the angels, Jibrail came. Can you imagine? Can you imagine you are in the cave? Many times you would go to this cave, for meditating. Suddenly, there's this angel came. And you know how angel Jibrail looked like? Anyone knows? The real form of the angel is huge. He's a huge creature. His wings, 700 wings. One. He has 700 wings. And then the other one also. Huge. Can you imagine? He come to the cave and you are inside the cave. Can you imagine? But look at the character of the Prophet, Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He didn't scream. He didn't say, what is it? No, he didn't freak out. He didn't freak out. He was calm. This is the character of the Prophet. He's calm. Scared, but calm. Didn't freak out. No, start throwing stones. No. He came and he said, Iqra, read. That's the first word. He said, Iqra, read. And the Prophet ﷺ, he's, I wouldn't use the word illiterate. He doesn't know how to read. He's not someone who knows how to read. Those days, not many people are educated. Not many people know how to read and write. Not like Alhamdulillah today, we know how to read and write. He didn't know how to read. So he said, I don't know how to read. He didn't say, hey, first of all, why are you here? Who are you? He didn't say. He said, I don't know how to read. And then the angels grab him, squeeze him. Again, imagine you are being squeezed by strangers in the cave. You squeeze. And said, Iqra, again. He said, I don't know how to read. Squeeze him again. Until he knows he's supposed to repeat after him. Then he repeat after him. Until he memorized the 5th verse, and then the angel left him. And then he would quickly rush down back to his room. Back to his wife, Khadijah, at that time. Khadijah binti Khuwailid, radiyallahu anha. Again, look at the reaction of the wife, mashallah. He didn't say, Nasi, I told you already, never go up there. Today the wife will say that, right? How many times I told you not to go up there alone? How many times? See? No, the wife immediately cuddled him because he was shivering. Take a blanket, cover him, put him to bed. Then the next day, he mentioned to her what happened. And then Khadijah said, are you sure? You are not dreaming? No, he didn't say that. She didn't say that. You see, this is the beauty of having a good wife. And also, because he was Al-Amin, he never lied. So Khadijah knew that he would never lie. So he never said, you sure? Is it because you lack of sleep? No. You know what she told him? He said, Allah will never forsake you. Don't worry. Allahu Akbar. And this is a time when Khadijah brought him to see her uncle. Because he have an uncle, and her uncle used to be the follower of Isa, follower of Jesus. Following the true teaching of Jesus. So he would know about what is in the Injil. And he was blind. He's a blind man, but very knowledgeable. So Muhammad SAW went to, with Khadijah, and went to see him. And Muhammad would narrate what happened in the cave. And her uncle told him, indeed you are the last prophet. It is stated in the Injil. Because Jibreel will only go to the prophet. So indeed, you are the last prophet. So you are the last prophet. And then he said, if I have a long life, if I were to live long after this, you will find me among the people who would protect you. And then he was surprised. Because Khadijah and Muhammad, they are from the high class people. Like today, if you live among the high class people, you will not be bullied, right? So they were surprised. What? We being bullied? You need to protect us? What is this? He said, no. He said, all prophets will go through this. The people will fight you. And you will find them, even your closest people will fight you. He was surprised. And then soon after that, the uncle passed away. So this is the beginning of the prophethood. It's very important to know this is the beginning of the prophethood. So now let's leads to the next chapter. The beginning. Okay. These verses ushered in a new era of knowledge, reading, light, and guidance. The Quranic revelations continue until his death 23 years later. So yes, so he became the prophet at the age of 40, and the Quran was revealed to him. The first word was Iqra, read. So, as Muslims, unfortunately and very sad I have to say this is, we don't read nowadays. We are the nations of don't read. We don't read. How many of us read the book of Allah every day? Very rare. But you can find all of us read Facebook. Right? Book of Allah we don't read. We read Facebook. So let's revive this. We as Muslim, the first word revealed to the Prophet Muhammad is read. We need to start over here. Please, we need to revive this culture. Start reading. Read anything, good books, not comic books, not gossiping books. Read good books. Even read engineering books, science books. Yeah, read. We need to start reading more. And read less of your Facebook. Because Facebook, fake news. We all know, right? Unfortunately, we enjoy fake news than real knowledge. The book I showed you just now, When the Moon Split, if you have not read it, please go ahead, buy and read, okay? So this is the beginning of his mission. After 3 years of preaching secretly, so when the Quran was revealed to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was only allowed to preach secretly because he was not commanded to preach publicly yet. So he had been preaching or propagating Islam secretly in the house of one of the young believers. Because not many people accept Islam at that time. When he started preaching to his family, like Khadijah accepted, for example, his best friend Abu Bakr Siddiq accepted. A few people, his slave. And he was preaching, he was giving kuliah like this in a house, a young boy house. His name is Arqam. So he was preaching in that house, the house very nearby the Kaaba, for 3 years. And then he would spend another 10 years preaching Islam openly. Then after that, when he was commanded to preach Islam openly, then that's when he started preaching openly. The first thing when he received the revelation, he went out to the mountain. There's a hill. He went up to the hill. And then he called everyone attentions. Because those days, the Arabs, if there is an emergency, you can go up to the hill and then you call everyone. So everyone will gather and listen to you. So he went up to the hill and he called everyone. So everyone came. Because it's an emergency, right? And then he asked all of them first. You see, he asked them first. He said, if I were to tell you that behind this hill, there is a group of soldiers coming to this town and attack this town, would you believe me? All of them said, yes, of course, you are Al-Amin. We have no reason not to believe you. All of them said that. And then he said, so now I invite you to become Muslim and accept Islam and worship Allah and stop worshipping idols. Did everyone accept it? Immediately, people say, what are you talking about? You are wasting all of our time. Abu Jahl said, where is this? You wasting my time. You call all of us here. Do you know my business? I'm supposed to run my business, you know. Hey, you came here, you wasted 15 minutes. See? Millions. You know, today when you talk to people, my stock market, every minute, you know, millions one, you know. Waste of my time. Immediately, people start to humiliate him. During this period, he and his companion were subjected to all forms of injustice and persecution at the hands of Quraysh pagans. Yeah, not only they don't listen to him, they prosecute him. So Rasulullah would pray in front of the Kaaba and they will torture him. They will put a big intestines of the camel on the back of his on his back when he was prostrating. His people, Yasir and his wife Sumayyah, were among those who were killed, among the first martyr killed. The manner how they were killed, I don't feel like saying it here. Read the book, you will cry. I promise you, you will cry. How they were killed. But they couldn't do anything. They couldn't fight back. They were not allowed to fight back. They were only allowed to preach, that's all. And be patient. At the time of prosecution like this, they were asked to be patient. When Yasir was about to be killed, Rasulullah, when he saw him, he told Yasir, be patient. Be patient, Yasir. Paradise is under your feet. It's very, very near. Be patient. That's all. That's all they can do. Torture. Kebab, torture. Kebab, towards the later of his life, when he was changing, some companions saw his back has very deep scars. He would tell them how he was being tortured. He said, those days the Quraysh used to tie him down and then they will use a very hot iron, poke him until he could smell the burning of his skin and it would burn all the way into his bone. This is how he was tortured. Thank Allah that today we can practice Islam openly without being tortured. Imagine if we were there at that time. How many of us can survive? How many of us can turn back and say, oh, it's okay, I go back worshipping idols? But today, alhamdulillah, we have aircon, nice carpet, salat 5 times a day. Look at our masajid, mashallah, right? And yet, our masjid are empty. Why? Because we never study our history. We don't read the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we were to know how the companions suffered, how the prophets were suffered, we would worship Allah. We want to worship Allah. We have people walk up in the middle of the night, watch Champions League matches more often than worshipping Allah. What happened to us? Seriously, what happened to us? Not losing heart, he began presenting himself during the pilgrimage season to the pilgrims who came from various tribes, calling them to the new faith. Pilgrims from Medina accepted Islam, and soon afterwards, Muslims started migrating to their city in successive groups. Yes, this is what we call the Pledge of Aqaba. The Pledge of Aqaba, there are two pledges. The first, not many. Then the second pledge, a lot. What happened is, there are a group of people from Medina. Medina is another city from Mecca. At that time, it was called Yathrib. They would come to Mecca to perform Hajj during Hajj season. They heard about that there is a prophet in Mecca. So they will come and meet Muhammad SAW. The first group of people came and accepted Islam. And then the second group came the following year. Huge group. They pledged and invited the Prophet to migrate to Medina. Come. You are being tortured here. Why don't you come to us? We will protect you. Why is a pledge? Because they pledged to protect you. Not only we believe in you, we will protect you. We will protect you just like how we protect our own children, even with our life. And they asked the Prophet, after pledging this, they asked the Prophet, in return, what do we get? What do you think the Prophet said? 10 million, 20 million, any price? He said, paradise. What did they say? Allah, rugi lah. Not a good deal. All of them said, what a good deal. What a beautiful transaction. So that's what happened. And then after that, subsequently, the Prophet ﷺ got permission from Allah to migrate instead of being tortured. So he migrated. Not him first. He started to migrate his companions to Medina. So at the age of 53, Allah's Messenger ﷺ migrated to Medina. 53. From the first revelation at the age of 40 until he migrated 53, 13 years. 13 years of prophethood being tortured in Mecca. Can you imagine? 13 years being tortured. So the Quran was revealed 13 years already at that time. At that time, the Quran, all the verses and the surah revealed not about rulings. There's no rulings. There's no fasting, no rules. It's all about worshipping Allah. And stay away from shirk. Stay away from idols, worshipping. It's all about worshipping Allah. And the surah is all short one. If you read the Quran towards the end, starting from 100 surah, all the short ones. Like Qul huwallahu ahad, one verse. Allahu samad, one verse. That is very short. Why? Because those days, the pagans, when they listen to the Quran, they would stuff their fingers into the ears. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear. So what happened is, the ayah was all short. Qul huwallahu ahad. Before they start, they already listen the whole. Then they start. Then they take out the fingers. Allahu samad. They put back. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. Whenever they try to stop, they hear the whole ayah. Why? So that they can contemplate. Allah says in the Quran, so that they can contemplate. When they hear about the ayat, even though they don't believe, inshallah they will go back and then they will contemplate about the ayat. Think about it. And inshallah they will accept Islam. So for 13 years, all the short surahs. and all about worshipping on the oneness of Allah. And then now they migrate to Medina. After all the companions have migrated, Rasulullah and his best friend Abu Bakr Siddiq migrated last. Why? The Imam always leave last, just like the captain of the ship, right? Today maybe we don't find captain of the ship leave last, maybe they will be the first one to leave. But Rasulullah, he left last. Migrated to Medina, which was then called Yadrib in 622 CE, after the Quraysh notables who had opposed his mission plotted to kill him. Yes, that was the last straw. So they were plotting to kill him. So Allah guided him to leave Medina, to leave for Medina. He spent 10 years there, inviting people to Islam. So he spent 10 years in Medina. At that time, in Medina, all the rules start to come down. Fasting, give the zakah, pray 5 times a day. Right? All the rules come about. Why? Because the people already accepted Islam, already know about Allah, already accepted the first Shahada, easy after that. And then they know that he is the Prophet. So after that, when the ruling comes, do not commit zina, don't drink alcohol, everything easy for them. He spent 10 years there inviting people to Islam and enjoy the prayer, zakat, and other Islamic rituals on the Muslims. His effort to spread Islam following his migration to Medina, Allah's Messenger ﷺ laid the foundation for Islamic civilizations and determined the aspects of Muslim society. So yes, he started the state of Islam. So he governed he's the governor basically, right, in Medina. He eradicated tribal fanaticism, spread knowledge, established the principles of justice, righteousness, fraternity, corporations, and organization. Some tribes attempted to put an end to Islam once and for all, leading to a number of skirmishes and wars. But Allah supported his messenger and made Islam reign supreme. Then people in Mecca and in most cities and tribes in the Arabian Peninsula willingly began entering this great religion in crowds, fully convinced that it is the true religion. Yes, so at that time, towards the end of his life, Islam spread like wildfire. Many people become Islam. Many people. The Jews, the pagans, the people who worship idols. In his last Hajj, or the only Hajj, he would have more than 100,000 followers. Imagine 23 years ago, he only had a handful of followers. But after that, huge group. After 23 years, huge group of people. And these people are willing to die for him. These followers of him is no other kings would have this kind of followers. I don't have time, otherwise we would, maybe next week inshallah I'll share one hadith. It's a very long hadith. We'll go through this hadith one by one. It's a dialogue between Abu Sufyan and Heracles, the king of Rome, talking about Muhammad. Inshallah next week. Today we are a bit short of time. His death in the lunar month of Safar, 11 AH, after Allah's Messenger ﷺ disseminated the message of Allah, and Allah had completed his favor upon the Muslims by perfecting his religion for them. The Messenger ﷺ had a sudden onset of fever, which led to his death on Monday, Rabiul Awwal, at the age of 63. So yes, on Monday, the month of Rabiul Awwal, he passed away. After Dhuhr, before Asr, he passed away. He was buried where he died, in the apartment of his wife Aisha, which is now housed within the Prophet's mosque in Medina. So yes, his body, he is buried at where he died. Why? Because all prophets, including himself, will be buried at the place they died. So he died in the house of Aisha, so he was buried in her house. So today, if you visit Medina, you will be able to see his graveyard. So he is in Medina. So let's go through some of these attributes. Our prophet's name, his name is Muhammad, was the son of Abdullah. Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib. The way the Arabs is, they would always call upon their father, right? The son of whom, son of whom. So the son of Abdullah, the father's name is Abdullah. The grandfather is Abdul Muttalib of the Banu Hashim, the clan of Quraysh. He was in distributor, the nobles of all Arabs, yes. A messenger of all mankind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Muhammad as a messenger to people of all races, classes, and colors. And he made it everybody's duty to obey him. As the Quran states, O mankind, I am the messenger of Allah to you all. Surah Al-A'raf, verse 158. So yes, the difference between Muhammad and the previous prophets, in fact, in one of the hadith, he actually told us that the difference between him and the rest of other prophets is that other prophets were sent for particular nations or tribes. But for him, he is sent to all mankind. All mankind. Not just the Arabs, not just the Malay, not just the Pakistani, but all mankind, everyone. The Quran was revealed to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down to him the greatest of his divine scriptures, the Holy Quran, which falsehood can reach neither from before it nor from behind it. This is from Surah Fusilat, verse 42. So yes, the Quran was revealed to him. There's no doubt. Right? I think last week someone asked me about how the Quran was revealed. So the Quran was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ through angel Jibreel. There are a few methods that the verses were revealed. Right? Again, the verses were not revealed in the manner that we are reading now, meaning from Surah Al-Fatiha until Surah Al-Nas. It's not in that manner. It came from a different manner, but it was arranged after that, before he passed away. It was arranged by angel Jibreel together with the Prophet ﷺ. So it was revealed in the 23 years of span. Sometimes it came like in the very beginning, it came five verses. Then it may stop for a while and then come with one whole surah, but short surah. Then after that, sometimes it comes very frequent, sometimes it has to wait. He has to wait a few months. So it depends. And then it comes in a different manner. So sometimes angel Jibreel would came in his original form. Right, like for example, the very beginning, the first 5 ayat, the angel Jibreel would came in his original form, meaning with wings, his original angelic form. Sometimes it would come in a form of a voice, very loud voice. Sometimes it can come in the form of light, very bright light, very bright light. Sometimes it comes in a bell. There will be a bell, tong, very loud. Then after that, the verse will come. Sometimes it will just come down like a very heavy things, very heavy, not heavy, dense, very dense. That his body would immediately change. The prophet body would feel a very dense, like wind or something like that, come into his body. This is why the Quran is actually, to receive the Quran is a very heavy duty. It's not easy. Allah make it easy for the Prophet. And Allah mentioned in the Quran, if the Quran was revealed to the mountain would turn into dust. Too difficult to receive it. Right? So it comes in a different manner. for 23 years. He was the seal of the prophets and messengers. Muhammad SAW was the final prophet sent by Almighty Allah. Therefore, there will be no prophet after him, as evidenced by the verse, Muhammad is not the father of any of your men, but the messenger of Allah and the final seal of the prophet. This is Surah Al-Ahzab, ayat 40. Yes, he is the seal of the prophet. The seal means the last one. So the Prophet ﷺ, he also mentioned to us that the prophethood is like a nice bracelet. Then everyone has a jewels, and then I'm the last jewels that complete the whole chain. So the last one, he's the last one. Meaning after this, anyone claim to be prophet? No, he is the last. He was the last prophet, and there would no prophet after this. The meaning of the testimony that Muhammad is Allah's messenger, this means to believe his statements, do the acts he commanded, avoid the acts he prohibited, and worship Allah according to the manner he prescribed and taught us. Yes, so can he legislate? So that's the question. Can Muhammad SAW legislate rules or laws? So of course we said Allah is the one, Allah is the creator, he legislates laws, he legislates rules. But can Muhammad SAW legislate rules and laws? Well, he does not legislate. Whatever he got it from is from Allah, because he's the messenger of Allah. Right? So ultimately it is still from Allah. So whatever he asks us to do, we also do. Whatever he prohibits us, we also stay away from. So it is the same as believing in Allah and following his command, right? Because in the Quran, when you read the Quran, you will not get the details of every single thing. There are some things in details. There are some things are very general, right? For example, praying 5 times a day. Allah says, establish your prayer, aqimus salah. How to pray? We don't know. So we have to follow, we have to go to the Prophet. And the Prophet will show us. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ, he would climb up to the minbar and he said, pray like how I pray. Watch me. I will show you how to pray and then you just follow me. So we need the sunnah of the Prophet. We need the way of the Prophet so that we can establish salah. What time? 5 times. What is? How? Fajr. When is Fajr? When is Dhuhr? When is Asr? We don't know. The Prophet ﷺ would explain to us. How to fast, for example. How to pay the zakah. Hajj, for example. Hajj. There is no explanation in the Quran. So the whole Hajj performed by the Prophet ﷺ is our guidance. So we have to follow him. Same thing, there are things that he prohibited us from doing, which is not mentioned in the Quran. He would prohibit us. Even wearing the hijab, in the Quran only mentioned cover yourself, but how? The Prophet ﷺ explained it. Right? What does belief that Muhammad is Allah's messengers entail? To believe all, number one, to believe all the statements he made about everything. This includes the following matters relating to the unseen world, such as the last day, the eternal bliss in paradise, and the everlasting punishment in hellfire. Yes, the unseen things. We believe in the unseen. Whatever he said, we believe. Why? Because you have seen it. We have not seen it. Isra Miraj, he went to all the way. He witnessed paradise. We have not. He witnessed hellfire. We have not. So he told us, we believe. The events that will take place on the day of judgment, the signs of this day and the major incidents preceding the end of the world. Same thing. The signs of the last day. He knows the signs. He doesn't know the day, but he knows the sign. Right? He was asked by Angel Jibril, when is the day of judgment? meaning when the day of the end of the end of the world. He said, the one being asked does not know more than the one who is asking. So even Jibril doesn't know. It's only Allah knows. So he doesn't know the day, but he knows the sign. He knows the sign. So he was given the signs. So he would tell us signs, minor signs, major signs. Stories of the past nations, what happened between the prophets and their people. Yes, he talked about the stories before us. Many stories. We don't have time to go through today. To do the acts he enjoined and avoid the acts he prohibited. This includes the following. A Muslim must believe all the statements authentically attributed to Allah's Messenger, to comply with his orders, fully convinced that he did not speak of his own desire and that what he came with was nothing but a revelation revealed to him. As the Quran states, whoever obeys the Messenger has obeyed Allah. This is Surah An-Nas, verse 80. Yes, we convinced whatever he said is not out of his own desire. He didn't say it because his desire. You can read the Quran, right? The Quran, Abasa wa Tawalla. When the blind man came to him, Abdullah ibn Maktoum came to him to learn about Islam. He just turned his face from him. Right? Abdullah is coming to him. He saw him. He just turned away. Because he was talking to a group of noble people, the chiefs of the Quraysh. So this guy came and then he just found. Even then, Allah revealed in the Quran, Abasa wa Tawalla, he frowned. And he revealed to us. He didn't say, uh-oh, this verse is talking against me, so I'm going to hide it. He didn't. He said, Abasa wa Tawalla. To avoid the acts he prohibited, such as erroneous practices and bad manners, fully convinced that he only prohibited us from doing so due to some divine wisdom and for our own benefit, even if we may not be sometimes aware of such benefit. Yes, whatever he prohibited us from doing, we stay away from, even though we may not know the wisdom behind it. Just stay away. We may not know. To be certain beyond any doubt. Oh, we have a lot to cover. I don't think I can finish in 2 minutes. Okay, why don't we just stop here? We'll continue next week. Any questions before we stop? We still have a lot of points. Any questions? I can see a lot of people are yawning already, so let's just stop. Any questions?
Assalamualaikum.
Alhamdulillah.
Earlier I think I heard you mention that the people from Medina went to Hajj, and that's when they asked Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam
Correct.
to come and stay in Medina.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, did people make Hajj before the revelation?
Yeah, very good questions.
Why?
Yes, very good questions. Yes, people make Hajj. Why? Because Hajj was not prescribed during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. It was prescribed during the time of Ibrahim ﷺ, very long time ago. So people know about Hajj. It's just that during that time, during his time, right, during the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ time, they didn't know how to perform Hajj, and because they were already idol worshippers. So the people would perform Hajj in their own manner. For example, they would tawaf, right? Naked. Yeah. So the men would tawaf in the morning naked, and then the women's at night, because shy at night. So that's their nighttime. Nighttime is for the women to tawaf. So they would do certain things. They will still do. They know the gist of the ibadah is still there, but they change it. Yeah, they change it in their manners. They still claim they worship Allah, but through the idols, right? Idols are the mediators. Yeah. So yeah, they perform Hajj, and this is exactly, I think maybe you came a little bit late. when the time when the Prophet Muhammad SAW was born in the year of elephant, that's when the Yemen king Abraha was a bit jealous of Kaaba because people went Hajj there and they don't go Hajj to Yemen. Yeah. Yeah. People know about Hajj. It's just they perform in their own manners. Very good questions. Paying attention. Very good. Any other questions? Maybe one last question. It's already 12:50. No questions. Boys? No? Okay. So I ask Allah to grant us the understanding of this religion. Inshallah, you are convinced that Muhammad SAW is the true messenger. And please do read the book I introduced just now. I recommend just now. And inshallah, we'll continue next week. We'll finish the points. Then if we have time, we can go through the hadith I was talking about, the dialogues between Abu Sufyan and Heracles. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.